Hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm one of the admins on the Etsy Search Help Facebook group, and I'm the shop owner at Possum Crochet. And today we are going to talk about Google Analytics. The reason I wanted to cover this is because I've gotten asked a lot of times, what is it? How do we set it up? How do you use it? It's kind of overwhelming. Why even bother? So I kind of wanted to give just a basic overview. Google Analytics is pretty complex. So what we're going to cover today is pretty much the basics of what it is, how to set it up, and how to get meaningful data from it for your specific shop. This is specific to Etsy sellers, so we're not really talking about general websites or e-commerce, anything like that. Just what you need to do to get it set up in Etsy. Now, to get started, what is Google Analytics? It is a free tool released by Google that lets you basically get more detailed statistics on the traffic coming into your Etsy shop. It also lets you search that data. So I don't know if you've ever gone to your Etsy search stats. Excuse me, I thought I had it pulled up here. And you're like trying to go down through this list, and you see all these different search terms, and you really wish, I wish I could search through here and just see how many people are searching for Christmas right now. Or I want to see how many people are searching for my shop name, or some specific keyword that you're targeting. Well, that's where Google Analytics comes in, and you can actually do some of that searching. So those are the main reasons why I personally use it. I'm sure there are other reasons as well. Again, it's a very powerful tool. So let's just dive in on how to get this set up on your shop. Now, there are a lot of tutorials and things out there, so I'm not going to go into every single little step. I've already got mine set up, so I can't really show you how to go ahead and set up the Google Analytics account. But I will tell you, Etsy has this on their, they have a guideline on how to do it in their help section, and I'll just show you where you do it. You go to your shop manager, and then from there, you'll be taken to this screen. You go to settings, options, it's here. And under options, you have web analytics. And right here, they have the link to how to set this up. You do have to go to Google Analytics, and you have to set up a free account with them. And it walks you through how to get this information and how to set this up with your Etsy shop. So it's really that simple. You just copy and paste some numbers in there. It's not such a scary thing. And it does take time for it to actually kick in. And, I've been running my Google Analytics for a very long time now, so I've got a lot of data on mine. But the longer you run it, the more meaningful information you're going to have on here. Like, I think mine's been up for almost 2 years, from almost the time I've started my shop. But the longer you get this on here and running, the more data you're going to collect and the more meaningful information you're going to find there. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the data you can get out of your Google Analytics and why and how it's useful for you. This might get a little bit long, so I have to apologize in advance. Some of this stuff can be a bit advanced, but I'm going to try to lay it out in layman's terms and go through it very slowly so you can actually understand some of the useful tools here. So let's just get started with your home screen. This button here, home. It shows you some information about your shop that is kind of basic, kind of useful, but you got to know what this is. This is your audience overview. I don't really use this section too much, but I will show you this section here. This is your real-time report, which says how many people are on your shop right now. We'll come back to this in a minute. It doesn't look like I have anybody on there right now, but that can be information that's very useful. This is just a graph showing where your traffic is coming from. You can get that other places as well. The top pages being visited, your users over time. So it's just a quick snapshot of this information. This one in particular, I think, is pretty new, and it's really kind of handy. It's telling you, on average, when people are viewing your shop based on the time of day. It gives you a nice little breakdown. You can go by day, by week, by this month. So there's some very helpful information here. If you want to see what it is over 90 days as opposed to, say this month, you can do that. You can see how the week compares. But it's very interesting to see because say you're going to post a shop update on Etsy, and you know now that right around this time of year, Monday, Tuesday, there's some concentration there. Again, Tuesday, looks like afternoon, evening. So if I'm going to post a shop update, I'm probably going to do it, around this time frame where these darker blue colors are. You don't have to look at it that much. You can just kind of go through here and click over and see. So it makes it very visual, very easy to quickly get some information about your shop there. Now there's more data on this page. I'm not going to go over all of it in great detail because I think again, it's just a graphic representation of all the basic data that they're collecting about your shop. So let's just go ahead and dive into this real-time report as well, because this is something else I wanted to show you. The real-time report is, if someone's on your page, it's going to show you, when they're on, when they get off, where in the world they're located at. The page they're on is actually going to show up here. So there's going to show you which listing page they're on. If you pop into my shop and you go look at my Santa hat, I'm going to see you're looking at that listing. So this can be kind of interesting to see. I mean, whether or not it's useful, okay, well, it does require kind of sitting there and watching it. If you're running like a campaign or something, or like I guess if you're running a sale or a promotion and it's a limited time thing, it might be interesting to see. Or, if you're going live on a video, perhaps, and you want to see if people are clicking through on a link or something, that might be a good time to use this feature here. Again, it's one of those powerful tools that they have here that you can take advantage of. Moving on to some of the ones, let's see, there's another one here. Let's just go through the panel over here, because I showed you home already. That was this main screen that you usually come up on. And we clicked on this box, and that took us into the real-time reports. You can click through all these different things, but, I'm just going to show you the basics, and you can dig further into any of these if you'd like. Audience is, you have to click through to overview to get there. It's about your customers. It tells you information like who's new versus returning. It tells you like how long they're on your pages, when they're leaving your pages, things like that. It tells you the languages, the countries. You can dig into any of this information. You don't have to just click on this and look at this basic detail information. You can go into, city and see which cities people are coming from. I get a lot from New York. My orders tell me that. But you can go through here and see some really detailed information about who's shopping on your shop. Let's see. Let me go into acquisition. This is more about the source of the traffic in your shop. You're going to see some information here that might be a little bit confusing, like what's paid search. Well, Etsy runs ads for us. So even though you might not realize it, they might be running a Google Shopping ad for you or something like that. That's what this kind of stuff is. So you're going to see some information in here that might not make 100% sense, but you can kind of drill down into any of this as well and see if you can get more detailed information about your traffic, especially if you're not really sure, what your Etsy stats are showing you. If we come over to your Etsy stats and you're seeing, okay, I have all this direct traffic and I don't know, what that's coming from. They're trying to tell me some websites here, but I don't really understand, what that is. Well, you can kind of come in and browse through your analytics if it loads. And they're going to give you the landing page, which is a listing they fall on. And that's great, but again, it's still not really giving you a whole lot of information about your traffic there. So you can go and filter some more. Let's say we want to know more about this. I want to know where these visits came from. Referral path is one way to do it. It doesn't always give you meaningful information, and I'm not going to try to click through all 500. Let's see. Yeah, we're not really getting far here. I'll show you a little bit later on. There's a custom report that really helps get more information about these sites that you're getting traffic from. So I'll come back to that in a minute. In the meantime, let's go back over to our acquisition report, because there is one thing in here specifically that I wanted to point out to you guys, and that is the social setting. I know a lot of people advertise a lot on social media, Facebook, Pinterest. I do Ravelry as well. Ravelry is a place for crochet and knitting patterns, and I sell some of those, so that's why you're going to see that here. But this is a breakdown of your social media performance and where you're getting those views from. And just like everything else, anything blue here, you can click on and get more detailed information about. Now, the reason this is kind of helpful is it tells you what people are sharing and getting, like what links people are sharing about your shop and where they're getting to you from. So this is kind of interesting. The Facebook Shop Now link is one of them. Favorite shops, so it can give you some information about your Facebook pages. Pinterest also has analytics on their own site, but they give you some breakdowns here in Google Analytics. Again, tells you which listings you're getting. A lot of this is kind of self-explanatory. I just wanted to point out to you guys that it is here, and it's a useful tool to be able to have if you need more information about your shop and your visits. So now that I've gone through some of those basics, we're going to hop over to behavior and get into one of my personal favorite reports, but the most complicated one. So again, please bear with me. This is going to take a little while to explain, but I promise when I do, you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. So your basic behavior overview. It tells you a lot of interesting things. Again, it tells you the basics on this main page, but once you dig in, there's some really cool stuff here. Behavior flow shows you the path people are taking in your shop. They might go from one step to another step to another step, and then it'll show you where they drop off too. They might go to a certain listing, and then they drop off right here. So if you're wondering how people are shopping, what they're clicking through to, this is a great report for that. It's detailed. You got to do a lot of reading to see which listings those are and things like that. It's complicated stuff, but it does show you some very interesting information. If you're wondering, okay, what are people doing when they come to my shop? Where are they leaving? Okay, well, they're leaving after they click on this. So this is something you can look at. My favorite one of all time, though, is under site content, all pages. And by the way, if you guys are watching this and you can't remember where all these little things are, just so you know, you can search for any of these reports up here in this little search bar. Like if I want to go to the all pages report, it's right there. If you want to go to that social report, you can just, if I can spell right, you can just pop it in here and go to your social overview there. So you don't have to use this little navigation bar to find everything. If you can't find what I was talking about, just hop over there. All right. So this, again, I said was my favorite report, and this is your all pages. This is my favorite report because it's showing you every single page that was visited in your Etsy shop, and Etsy has this way of, I guess you could call it kind of coding in their website addresses. You've probably seen this before. Their addresses aren't short. It's got this number, then this thing here, and then this ref equals find and all this stuff. And it looks kind of cluttered, but from the back end perspective, from what we're looking at right now in our analytics, this is actually pretty awesome for us. These numbers here are your listings. So if you wanted to, you could go to your Etsy shop and say, all right, I want to see if anybody's clicking on this Santa hat. I want to see how many times people have viewed it. All right, see this little number here? This is a listing number. So I can grab this number, just copy that number, come over to Google Analytics, paste it right in this little box, hit enter, and it's going to come back with every single time someone clicked on that listing. So you might be thinking, okay, so what? I can kind of see that in Etsy already. Well, if you browse through here, you can also see where they got to it from. This one, they just clicked straight on that listing. This one says CA in it. That means Canada. So someone from Canada visited it 7 times, or several people probably. From the UK. This one's all cluttered and it looks crazy. And we probably don't take the time to read this very much. But now if you take a minute and actually read through what it says here, order equals most relevant, search type equals all, okay. View type gallery, search query, Christmas dog outfit. That's specifically what someone searched for in the search, and then they clicked on my listing to find this hat. So here we have the exact search term people are using to search for and find this hat. I have got 3 views from this specific query. So now I know 3 times someone searched Christmas dog outfit and hit this. That's really helpful for your SEO and keyword research. Dog Santa costume 3 times. You get used to seeing this crazy stuff over time, but it is actually really kind of helpful for us as shop owners. We can tell right away, is something working? Things like that. If you're trying out a new keyword and you want to see if it's making a difference, that's something you can look at. Other things you can do with this report, because again, this report is my favorite because it is so flexible. This little search box is so powerful. And as I was saying, the way Etsy creates these URLs, we've got a lot of power. We can see a lot of data just based on searching for what pages people got, because the page address records how they got there. It's really pretty cool. So let's take another example from my own stats here. Let's see if we can find one. We already did how to find the listing here. Let's just go into another one that I like. Let's say instead of looking at a listing and then looking at what people searched for or how they got there, we want to know, I want to know if anybody searched my shop for unicorn costume, that specific phrase. I would enter in query equals, because again, that's how Etsy's recording it. Remember, we had search underscore query equals. You could do search underscore query or just query. It doesn't matter for this purpose. What did we say? Unicorn costume? We'll type that in there. And look, no one entered that. Now, this is just for this period of time here. I should point that out. I'm just searching like this past week. Now let's see if this week anyone searched for Christmas something that starts with Christmas hats, Christmas something, I don't know. And look, here we go. We've got 22 page views from a search in Etsy search bar that started with the word Christmas. Christmas dog outfit, Christmas wreath, Christmas cat accessories. So now I'm able to see, okay, people are starting to search for Christmas. This is actually really helpful when it comes to viewing your results over time. Let's say I want to set the time frame that I'm searching all the way back to January. And I want to see this year, excuse me, when did Christmas start popping up in my searches? Strangely enough, in January and February. Not much during the year. And then here in July, it's starting. In August, it's picking up. And now in October, it's getting even higher. So I know from this information, okay, Christmas is starting to be a thing. I could set this back to last year. And I could go 2016 through, let's just say, what do you want to do? Update that. Let's do December 31st, 2016. We hit that apply button. And now we have a trend for last year. Last year I didn't have those Christmas views here, but you can see exactly when it picked up. So around the first week of November, I had a spike and it continued through November. It's about getting on towards the last week of October now, so I know I need to get ready. My season's starting and I need to be ready. So that's super helpful information. You can do the same thing for any season. You can do that for Halloween. And again, remember, this is not any search like, dog Halloween costume. It's just for searches that start with Halloween. As you can see, Halloween costumes, query equals Halloween, so people are searching for specifically the words that start with Halloween. But again, the important thing is you can see trends in your shop over time. Now, again, this is why I was telling you guys it's helpful to set up Google Analytics early, even if you're not going to use it right now, because the longer it collects this data, the longer you get this awesome historical information about your shop. So, that said, let's go back to this year. Let's do October. What day is today? I think that'll be okay. All right, so let's look at this year again. I messed that one up. Sorry, guys. There we go. Give it a minute. Much better. All right. So this was, again, is keeping my search here. This is still looking at Halloween. So let's get that out of there. And I will show you some other things you can do with this. Let's say you're not sure if, I did this on an earlier video tutorial, but let's say you're not sure if people search, like for a 4th of July item. Let's say you're not sure if they search 4th or 4th more. There's 2 different spellings that, when you're creating keywords and things like that, you don't know necessarily how someone's typing something, so you can experiment with both and then see if they worked. Now in Etsy, if you're going through the stats, you're gonna have to go scroll through all your keywords or through the, what is it? You're gonna have to scroll through the results basically to see whether or not this is a thing. But here in Google Analytics, you can quickly search because again, this is how they record your data. It says it right there in the address. So let's say I want to know if 4th or 4th is better for, say, like a 4th of July thing. Here I can see quickly, okay, not getting a whole lot of page views from something that starts with 4th of July, with a number 4. Go to 4th like this. Not a lot there either, but you can kind of see there's a mix. So you'd have to do a bit more research on this probably and see what's going on there. But it's useful information, again, when you're thinking of how to phrase things, how to do keywords, things like that. So as you can see, this section is super useful in determining information about specific listings with that listing number and with search queries. Again, I just want to reiterate that whatever you enter here is very specific. If I do query equals unicorn, it's going to only return searches that started with the word unicorn, unicorn dog costume, unicorn dog hat. It's not going to do dog unicorn costume. It's only going to do ones that start with that. So if I want to know about dog unicorn, I have to put it in that way. But the ability to search for what keywords people are searching for and hitting your listings on, I think is immensely valuable. But now that we've covered that quite a bit, let's go on to another thing you can do here that is very, very useful. Let's pop over to our shop stats. And you guys have probably seen the shop updates feature. And Etsy shows you here, you have shop update stats. And what am I looking at? I am looking at my stats for today. Let's just say, let's go this year, because that's what I have up in my Google Analytics right now. And let's say we go down to those shop updates. It says for the whole year, I've gotten 6 views to shop updates. That seems a little funny because I post them pretty semi-regularly when I'm not busy. Now, what does that mean? Well, in this case, it means the shop updates section on your shop. So when you go to your shop, you have the updates. This is what they mean by shop updates. So how many times people actually click here and start scrolling through your stuff? Well, that's not always what we want to know, right? Sometimes you want to know how many times are people clicking on their homepage, on the Etsy homepage. They click on this picture and they go to my product. That's what I want to know. So Google Analytics can help us there too. Good old Google Analytics. And here's how. Here's the Etsy homepage. Your shop updates usually show up down here, right? Now let's click on this one. And like I told you, Etsy just keeps your path and this URL address all the time. It is so nice of them. You notice this little shop shares? I've done a bit of research. This is on every single one of the shop updates that you post. So they keep that in there. They also tell you which specific shop update it came from. Just like when you have your listing number here, it tells you which shop update number it came from. So again, this is a lot of numbers, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of overwhelming, but you get so much great information from this. Let's pop over to analytics again. Using this awesome little search bar, we're gonna do shop shares. And if you remember, I told you, that's from any shop update. Every shop update you post is gonna have that in here. And when people click on that and they go to a listing, any listing, from your shop updates, that's gonna show. So we're gonna pop over, and this is for the year. Remember Etsy said we had 6 views? Here we've got 80. Not only that, it's telling you which listings people hit when they clicked on your shop updates. And you don't see it here, but remember how we had these little drill down things? You can come in here and you can find the date when people, do it. It also shows up here at the top in the graph if you really want to see, but you can get the specifics here. You can get which device they're coming from, all kinds of things. So let me clear that back out real quick, and we'll do an example from my shop. Remember how I told you each one has that magic number in it? Let's see if I can find it on my own shop. Let's see. My screencast recorder is covering that up. Well, let me go to my own homepage because I'm pretty sure there was one of mine on here. That's from the blog. There it is, this one. So let's say we want to know how many times people clicked on this. Let's pop in that. Actually, let's just copy this whole thing so we make sure that we get exactly the right thing. Let's see if anybody clicks on that one. Nope. So you can see how successful something is using Google Analytics. That I think is useful because Etsy doesn't track that for us, and now we can tell if that shop update actually made an impact. Now, while we were talking about the Etsy homepage stuff, have you ever gone to your stats and seen, let me pop it up here. It used to be that they showed you Etsy homepage showed up as a source. I'm not seeing it right now. It used to come up as something that says Etsy homepage. Maybe I'm just missing it. But they used to tell you got views from the Etsy homepage. I'm like, okay, great. There are so many sections on the Etsy homepage. What was that from? Is it from, something that they showed you? Is it something from one of these sections? You couldn't really tell. But again, thanks to our handy dandy search here within Google Analytics and the fact that Etsy puts all this information into their addresses, we actually can tell exactly where some of this stuff is coming from. Now, let me pop up the Etsy homepage again because I know this gets kind of complicated and I want to show you guys how you can do this. You can see this by clicking on things or just, in Chrome, you can see it when you hover over it. It shows up in the bottom left, the bottom left corner there. So this is recently viewed, stuff I've looked at recently. When we click on it, or if you look down in the bottom left corner on your browser, usually it shows up there. See this ref? We get this again. This is a reference, like any reference. The ref equals something or other. HP_RV. That is actually homepage recently viewed. These HPRF homepage recently favorited. Kind of getting the idea there? You can go through any of these and click on a couple of them just to make sure that it's showing up. But if you look in the bottom left, HP_G is our GIFs. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to keep track of, but you can use that data in Google Analytics. If we just do HP, it's going to show you everything from the homepage. Homepage RF, homepage RF, RV, OPFY happens to be our picks for you. I think there's one somewhere, new for your favorite shop, new from your favorite shops is like NF, whatever. You know, they're pretty reliable and easy to figure out. But that kind of information also lets you know where you're getting a lot of your views. Are people like viewing your stuff and then coming back and viewing it again? Are people favoriting your stuff and coming back and viewing it again? You know, are you getting those clicks from the featured or the gifts thing? What was that one? HP_G was the gifts one. And if you ever wonder, hey, am I showing up in someone's shop under gifts? Nope, I'm not. I know right away. So that's pretty helpful. One other thing, again, Etsy used to show this in their stats. I'm not seeing it right now. They used to show this. You know, you remember how they have like Etsy finds, and I think they would call it Etsy features, something along those lines. If you got featured, I don't think it was up here. It was like I don't remember what it was called. I think this editor's picks. That sounds right. Let me see. Just click on one. Yes, this editor's picks. They used to tell you that you'd get a view from editor's picks, and I didn't see where it was in the stats page currently, but I did notice in my Google Analytics, I'm getting them because I got something like this, ref equals finds. And as we saw when we click on some of these, finds. So if you're getting views from that, it's because you're in the editor's picks, even if you don't see it in your information. And apparently I got a feature in editor's picks around this time, around September 6th-ish. And it was obviously a taco costume and a unicorn costume, because here they are. They probably did one and then the other. If we look by the date, you can see again, you can see which one is which. So again, this is one of those things where it's kind of helpful to know, okay, why am I suddenly getting 100 views on this item? I was featured in editor's picks. Even though I didn't get that information in my stats here, I am definitely getting that in my analytics. So super helpful to know. The techniques I've been trying to teach you guys, the reason I've been going so slow and trying to teach you guys this information is just so that you can figure out more yourselves. Again, pretty much everything you click on here, they record where you're going. You know, if you go to Pet Pamper, my shop's pets, so excuse me for going through all this stuff. Let's say I click on one of these. Reference holiday gift guide. You see, if you want to know if you're featured in one of those sections, you just go find that out of the address and you pop it into your analytics. See? You can tell right away if you've been there or not. If you see a spike in traffic, you know, you can kind of look through and see where is that coming from. I think that's probably enough on that topic for now. It's kind of complex, but super, super powerful, which is why I spent so much time on that specific topic. Before I conclude, I want to come back and mention one other thing that I talked about a little bit earlier, And that is a special report that I set up. Google Analytics lets you customize data. And I'm not going to go into like all the customization because I don't do a ton of it myself. But I do actually have a report that I found online, and I can share the link to you guys. Someone created this report, and I was able to import it into my analytics. And the reason I wanted to take a moment to show it to you is because this helps you answer the question of where are my views coming from when it's direct traffic or when it's from another website. Like, for example, this Neatorama, I got a lot of views from there. Maybe I want to know what that is, where it's coming from. I can kind of come over here and see exactly where it is. Now, you are going to get spam views. Google Analytics is going to show you that. Obviously, battle against pro-Trump spammer over the letter G. Okay, that is obviously spam, all right? Petitions.whitehouse.gov, also spam, But Linktree, okay, that was from my old shop when I had Linktree on my Instagram account. And I can tell, okay, great, people are clicking through on that. See if I can find that Neatorama one. This is my new Linktree one. Ravelry. Ravelry, again, was that site that I used for my crochet patterns. I can tell exactly which one they're clicking through to. Excuse me. Craft Count is a website that shows stats about your shop, how well you're doing on Etsy, how you rank on Etsy, your things like that. So it's cool that people are clicking through from there. I didn't see that one on Etsy, so it's good to know. Apartment Therapy. This one showed up on my stats in Etsy, but I didn't know which page. And if you go to just apartmenttherapy.com, you're going to be browsing through a million things trying to find yourself. But here, it tells you right here, great cat and dog costumes from Etsy. If I want to go view that, I can just copy that, paste that into my window, and immediately I know exactly which page it's coming from. It's not coming from apartmenttherapy.com. It's coming from this specific page, which I think is super helpful. See, you can see right there. There I am. And it's really cool to be able to find that instead of just going, okay, where on earth on the main apartment therapy page would I find where I'm getting views from? You could go browse through here or just pop over to your analytics. I think you guys get the main idea. It's just really helpful to know not just which website, but the page that things come from. It's not 100% reliable. Like here's DuckDuckGo.com. I don't know which exact page. It didn't list which exact page. So I'm kind of stuck. It's a search thing and it didn't record that data. But it's at least a tool to help you get information you need a bit faster than what you would normally get. So it's probably enough Google Analytics to give you a headache. But I did want to try to do a very, very comprehensive coverage of Google Analytics because a lot of people ask me about that. When you're using your Google Analytics, what I recommend doing and what I do myself, I'm not a pro. I don't use this for business. I've just taught myself how to use this stuff. So what I always do is I start with my Etsy stats and what questions do I have? What do I need to know to make my shop better, to make my products better? And then I look at how can Google Analytics help me answer that question. If I'm trying to see, how did a certain keyword do this year compared to last year? Are people actually searching for something? If they search for something on my shop, did they leave my shop immediately? There are so many different questions that these stats can help you answer. And I personally recommend starting with that question in your head instead of just browsing through all this information. Like I showed you how to use it all, but if you start with a question or a problem that you need to answer first, it will make this whole thing seem so much less confusing. So first start with something like, I wonder if people ever shop or search, for my shop name. You ask that question, then you pull up one of those reports, and then you do the search. I'm Possum Crochet. So you start with a question, then you look, and then you get your answer. And if your answer isn't what you expect, like maybe I expected people to do this more, then I should say go in and put my keywords in my listings. So use this as a tool to help you answer your questions and grow, not just one more thing you have to check every day. Don't let it be overwhelming for you. Just use it as a tool to help you improve. I know that's a ton of information. There's probably going to be some questions. If I can help with them, let me know. I will do my best. Again, I'm not a professional. I don't do this for money. I just wanted to share some of the things that I have been using Google Analytics for. Sorry, this is so long, but I really do think it's so useful if you need to get some more specific information. I will be responding to comments if you have any. If you need me to cover anything in more depth, let me know. I appreciate your views, and any feedback would be appreciated. Thanks again, and I hope you find this helpful and wish you a lot of success with your Etsy shop. Bye.